In the vast, desolate deserts of Maricopa County near Buckeye, Arizona, a chilling mystery unfolds. The disappearance of Daniel Robinson, a young geologist, remains unsolved. A promising young professional, Daniel's life was a testament to overcoming adversity. Yet one fateful day, June 23, 2021, he vanished, leaving behind an abandoned Jeep in the heart of the Arizona desert. Despite Daniel's puzzling disappearance and extensive search efforts, Daniel remains missing. At the heart of this ongoing search is Daniel's father's relentless and heartbreaking commitment to finding and bringing home his son. As we delve into this unresolved mystery, we hope to shed light on the enigma surrounding Daniel's disappearance. Daniel, the youngest of 3 children, was very close to his family, calling or texting someone just about every day. Raised in Columbia, South Carolina, Daniel Robinson was a beacon of resilience from a young age. Born with a congenital disability that saw him enter the world with just one hand, Daniel never accepted limitations. Although he had the option to wear a prosthetic, he always preferred not to. He told his mother that he just wanted to be himself. He was always a smart kid who did well in school and enjoyed sports and music. He had even taught himself how to play the trombone and the French horn. Daniel was competitive with his siblings and always tried to outperform them in academics and sports. His family and friends remember his beautiful smile, positivity, warm heart, bounds of energy, and insatiable curiosity. He loved life, his family, and the great outdoors. After graduation from the College of Charleston in 2017 with an undergraduate degree in archaeology, he advanced his studies in geology. Daniel relocated to Arizona, where he had been hired as a hydrogeologist for Matrix, an engineering firm. Arizona, surrounded by the vast Sonoran Desert, was filled with sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic rock some nearly 2 billion years old. This was a geologist's dream. Daniel seemed to be settling into his new job and apartment easily. He had a new Jeep Renegade, a nice apartment, and a promising career in his field. His family thought he was doing well. June 23, 2021, started like any other workday for Daniel. After a quick stop at the gas station, he arrived at his job site by 9 a.m. He had been assigned to take soil samples for a planned new housing development, just a few miles outside the town of Buckeye, Arizona. The vast, undeveloped desert stretched for miles. He met with Ken, his new co-worker, to get access to the enclosed area and shaft needed to collect the samples. Ken had just met Daniel. He was pleasant and seemed okay during their interaction, but mentioned he was really tired. Ken said Daniel seemed a bit distracted or unfocused and kept looking out to the mountain range. Unfortunately, it had rained the night before and Daniel was unable to obtain good samples. He would need to reschedule. Daniel then got into his Jeep, waved goodbye, and drove away, leaving the work area. As Ken closed up the site, he didn't see Daniel's Jeep returning or on the horizon. He noted as he drove out that Daniel's muddy tire tracks didn't turn back towards the highway. Instead, they headed out a dirt road straight out into the desert. It wasn't too unusual for a curious geologist to want to explore the rare desert outcroppings when the opportunity arrived. Ken assumed he would return to work after his break, but later mentioned to his supervisor that Daniel was out in the desert when he left. This was the last known sighting of Daniel. David Robinson, Daniel's father, didn't hear from him that evening as expected, nor did his siblings. Unusual for Daniel, as he was frequently texting, posting pictures on Instagram, and talking to his sister or someone. David became increasingly concerned when Daniel didn't answer the phone after many attempts, and his phone went straight to voicemail, and he hadn't shown back up for work. He sensed something wasn't right, as this was completely out of character, and made plans to go to Arizona. After arriving in Buckeye, David checked at Daniel's apartment, but no one had seen him. His employer said he was last seen at the job site west of Buckeye. He drove out to the job site, drove around and walked around for miles looking for any trace of him. He asked around town if anyone may have seen him. No one had. David Robinson filed a missing persons report that evening. The local Buckeye police didn't seem alarmed, as they assumed that as a young adult, Daniel had made plans without notifying his family and would show up eventually. This did not make any sense to David. David was an Army vet who served in Afghanistan. He was determined to find his son and was not going to give up. He stayed on in Arizona and continued to scour the desert, walking and driving miles of dirt roads every day. David posted on social media, opened a Facebook group, had flyers made up to distribute and organize searches asking others to join him. Day by day, the hot desert sun and winds were destroying tracks and any evidence. After 2 weeks and due to David's persistence, the local police agreed to look into Daniel's disappearance. They organized an official search and brought out drones, dogs, and ATVs. They searched approximately 70 square miles, checking abandoned mine shafts, old wells, and arranged for both helicopter and civil air patrol to do flyovers. Daniel's extended family, co-workers, and friends also helped, as well as numerous volunteers. Still no sign of Daniel or his Jeep. People wondered if Daniel had depression or talked of suicide. I spoke to my son 2 days prior to him going missing, and we had a normal conversation, David Robinson said. He's a happy guy. He's never done anything that made you think he needs to be in therapy or to see a professional. Local police accessed Daniel's apartment. They took his laptops, gaming consoles, and other electronic equipment for further evaluation. Then, on July 9, 2021, a month after he disappeared, in a remote part of the desert, a few miles away from his job site, Daniel's Jeep was spotted lying on its side in a shallow ravine. The Jeep was in a battered state, showing signs of a crash. The airbags had been deployed, and the sunroof panel looked like it had been kicked out. Daniel's orange construction vest and pair of blue jeans with his wallet in the pocket lay on the ground. His backpack, work laptop, apartment keys, bottled water, and cell phone were still in the Jeep. A Red Wing work boot was lodged under the vehicle. But there was no sign of Daniel. The discovery of the Jeep brought more questions than answers. Why was the vehicle missed earlier? The area had been searched, and although it was in a gully, it was plainly visible. The property owner, a cattle rancher, said he never saw the Jeep, and he was out there frequently. He said even the cows would notice something odd. What led to the crash? Did he try to walk back out to the highway? Then why didn't he wear his boots, bright vest, keys, or bring some of the water bottles from the Jeep? Had he been injured in the crash, hit his head, was confused and wandered off? If he had passed away in the desert due to exposure or injury, where was his body? Searchers had grided out the area and covered each area thoroughly. Had he been assaulted? Things just weren't adding up for David, and he decided to hire a private investigator, Jeff McGrath, an ex-policeman that also specialized in accident investigations. Jeff McGrath agreed the police theory made no sense. If you were delirious and ripped off all your clothes and wandered into the desert, you wouldn't stick one of your shoes under the car. My personal theory is that someone deliberately wrecked that vehicle out there. Collected data from his cell phone put the phone at the crash site around 10:05 a.m., and it stopped pinging at 10:30 a.m. However, the Jeep's black box presented a perplexing puzzle, as it indicated that the vehicle had been driven after the accident, contradicting the initial theory of a crash-related disappearance, and the someone had attempted to start the car numerous times. A few more oddity came up. Daniel's apartment was clean and orderly, however his room was in disarray, as though someone had gone through there, searching on his computer, going through his files, after Daniel had already gone missing. Jeff McGrath found a black Nike sock 3 miles away in the desert and believes there is more to the case than meets the eye. I think somebody, not a good person, found him. I can't imagine what they did with him, but I believe his vehicle was crashed a couple of times, and then its final rest was at the bottom of that ravine. As the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, the story of Daniel's disappearance finally caught the attention of national media outlets. A spotlight turned to Buckeye, Arizona, a small desert town now known for the geologist who vanished without a trace, and much criticism that the local police didn't act quickly enough. Daniel's uncle thought police were doing what they could to find him, but he feared it was a little too late. On the 1-year anniversary of Daniel's disappearance, family and friends rallied in support and organized a vigil, keeping a beacon of hope in the darkness, their candles flickering against the vast desert backdrop. The vigil was also a plea to the world to not only remember Daniel, to put all effort into taking missing persons reports seriously and effort to finding them immediately, no matter what ethnicity, background, or circumstances. What happened to our family happens to many families. We are not alone, David Robinson said. His life, full of potential, was abruptly disrupted. leaving his family in a state of relentless pursuit for answers. We hope that one day the deserts of Buckeye will reveal their secrets, or that someone will see Daniel somewhere and bring Daniel Robinson home. For more information or any tips, please contact Buckeye Police at 623-349-6411 or the anonymous tip line 844-602-0660. Please help find Daniel.